So event 6 of season 5 has come to a conclusion. The Mubadala New York Sail Grand Prix alongside Olympian Stevie Morrison and former Emirates GBR athlete Hannah Diamond. I am Todd Harris. All right, let's get right into it. Hannah, first with you, Brazil. Mubadala, Brazil. That was an historic win for Martina Grail, and it really is just, I think it just shows the parity that's out there. This is their first season, and she's already picked up a victory.
Yeah, that's right. I think we've been saying for a while that Brazil are definitely going to win a race. It's just when. And, you know, for anyone who is doubting Martine or any of her team, you know, it must be so nice for them to put any doubts aside and lay down that first race win.
And Stevie, I know they want to hear this, but they were so close to making an event final as well.
Yeah, they were. And I, I guess I would say, yeah, I totally agree with Hannah. It's always been coming. And in many ways, they'll be more happy about that overall in the event. You know, fourth after 6 races is incredible. You know what I mean? That consistency you've got to deliver on that in a really tough event. It's not been easy. So yeah, I mean, it's brilliant to win a race. Of course, that's fantastic. But I think they'll go away from here so happy. And again, you've got to think, yes, they've only been in for no time at all, most of them. What does that mean for the United States, for Germany, for Italy, for Switzerland?
The teams with 2 season plus.
Yeah, you know, that's ask some questions, doesn't it?
No,
because like you say, there is parity. What's so good about SailGP is they come in, they get the same kit. There's no questions there. It's then how do you use your tool?
Don't you love how Stevie stirs the pot, just leaves it hanging? All right, before we get to this next point, I want to say that Brazil and Martina Grail were fantastic, so gracious in victory and defeat. And she was so quick, Martina Grail was, to give credit to the rest of the team and not play too big. It's just another race. We're moving on to the next race. So I think that just showed her poise. Now, the reason why they didn't make the final was the Spanish. And Stevie, they had a shocker in an earlier race where they finished 11th. It looks like they had done themselves in. And here they come in that last race away to get them the points they needed to get in the top 3.
Yeah, and I don't want to say luck because you don't know what it was looking like out on the water.
Sure.
Ultimately, Brazil turned left, which had been good most of the day. Spain turned right, and it was a 250-metre swing in the leaderboard, a wind shift. I mean, that's the game we play. That's what's so great about sailing, but so hard about sailing. It's very, very hard to control the people around you. You've got to sail the wind and sail what you're in. But one thing I saw, where the decision I was most impressed with the Spanish was in the final. They had New Zealand right behind them. They had a tough call to make. Now, the easy call, if you're not at all decisive, is to just save a manoeuvre because you know you're not going to lose a set amount of distance. But Diego was punchy. He said that there's more breeze right. Him and Nicole had clearly made that decision early. We're going to do the extra manoeuvre. We're going to put ourselves in more breeze. And that was a big, big call. So, you know, that's why I'm loath to say it was luck. They turned right at the bottom when Brazil turned left, made a massive difference. But they're too consistent at making good, big decisions for it to be luck. They're just really in a good place with their sailing right now.
Hannah, do you agree with Esteban?
I do. I mean, I think if we look at a lot of the other teams, when they come under pressure, when they're in the pack, you can hear the tempo of the communication rises on board. The manoeuvres start to drop in consistency. We don't see that with the Spanish. They are at the same level all the time. So it doesn't matter if they're leading, it doesn't matter if they're last. They are still executing to the same level, and I think that makes a huge difference, and it gives them so much confidence when they go into the final, especially now winning 2 finals back to back. They now can stand with their shoulders really, really proud and take that forwards, and that's a really powerful thing.
And I think it's interesting. We talk about Tom Slingsby, obviously one of the champions of the league. He's won it 3 times over, but he made a comment in a press conference a while ago, Steve. It may have been New York last year, where he said someone needs to start stepping up. These young guys need to step up, and I think Diego Botín has certainly done that. As you look at the final, Hannah, now, what stood out to you? Because as we talk about momentum as a sailing team, I don't think Spain came into this final with a lot of momentum. They scratched their way into it. I would say France had the momentum. They were smiling, feeling pretty good about it. How did they pull this off? How did Diego Botín find it just off the line?
Yeah, and it's interesting because, you know, quite often, actually, we see the boat that just scrapes into the final end up winning it. And I think when you've been on the back foot earlier in the day, you've really had to analyse what's put you in the final. What are the decisions that you've made around the course strategically and how you've been sailing the boat that have made the difference, that have just got you into that 3rd spot and knocked someone else out of the final. And I do think that that's quite a powerful feeling within the team going into the final. But the way they executed that start, it looked like there was no stress on board. They just owned it from the first moment.
All right, so Stevie, we take a look at the leaderboard now after 6 events. Spain now on top with 46 points. The Australians, also known as the Bons Flying Roos, now are in 2nd with 45. The Kiwis in 44. Emirates GBR at 41 in 4th place. Canada in 38 in 5th. And France in 36. That is 6 boats that are any day can beat one another.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tight. And I think that's where we're at now. It's about that delivering, as a bit like Hannah said, how can you execute? How can you execute? How can you execute at that consistent level? I think, GBR strikes me as an interesting one there. Hannah talks about momentum, and they're way down on momentum. They looked untouchable early season. San Fran and here, they've not been up to their standards.
Right.
They set very high standards, and so I think I can then criticise or comment on the
Sure.
fact that they're not up to those standards. But they're coming to a home event. We go to Portsmouth next. They've got a little bit of time to reset. It's 6 weeks. Unfortunately, we've got to get the boats the whole way to Portsmouth, so we can't do it, instantly. It takes a minute. But we're going to get over there, and then they're going to get that one chance to reset. We're only halfway through the season, but we're also halfway through the season, so it starts to matter. They're going to get a chance to reset on home turf. So I think Portsmouth becomes an even bigger event for Dylan Fletcher and for Hannah Mills and that whole crew. And they've got to take that whole, what's going to be a massive support for them. There's going to be a lot of people they know. It's a support, it's a pressure. You've got to turn that pressure positivity.
All right, Hannah, you have sailed in Portsmouth before. That's where you're heading next. What can we anticipate? I know Stevie wants to know the best place to get some fish and chips, but what can you anticipate? What should we expect when we go there?
Well, I mean, firstly, the UK crowds, the fans are going to be so excited, especially after not having a UK event in the last season. So really looking forward to seeing people come out and supporting the event, as well as the British team. But another tidal venue, as we've seen from the weather in New York, we can't guarantee sunshine. But I think it's also one of those venues, you get some typical sort of sea breeze venues where you know what to expect. Portsmouth is not necessarily going to be like that. You're going to have to be watching the forecast just in the days running up to the event, because it could really be anything. We might get a lovely sea breeze, warm temperatures. The tide's definitely a given, but we could also see conditions like this weekend, really puffy, cloud-driven conditions, which can be really hard to read on the water. So the teams are going to have to be really on their toes, doing their research, but then ultimately waiting to see what happens on the day.
Todd, you don't need to worry about me. I know where all the fish and chip shops are. As I say, I don't know exactly what the weather's like out there, but what I do know, it's going to be right off the shore. It's going to be pretty spectacular for all the fans there, really close into the beach. And the Solents just has always been one of the hardest, most exciting places to race. It's going to be that. But now we've got these 12 boats. We've seen that basically anyone can win a race now. I believe everyone can win a race if it comes to it, but the standard's only getting closer. Now suddenly Brazil are a team we're talking about getting to event finals. Well, that's another team in the list, so it's just awesome. But the crews have got 6 weeks to go away and work out how to get it done.
All right, coming up, it's event number 7, the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix from Portsmouth. We will be there. We're so excited for it. Will it be the return of the T-foils? Do we stay with the L-foils? What wing comes out? All kinds of configurations to play into it. And so we hope to see you there. We will have full coverage for you, obviously, on day 1 and 2, leading up to Super Sunday and the event final. So on behalf of Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, our entire crew, I'm Todd Harris. We will see you in Portsmouth.